I quite often hear people express their dislike for humanity when horrible groups or individuals from past or present are exposed for the horrible things they've done. Ranging from poachers to polluters, heartless individuals to heartless organizations. Completely unfathomable acts of genocide to complete lack of consideration. There's no denying that unbelievably horrible actions and decisions are made by people all the time, and it's easy for many of us to feel hopeless in the midst of all this news. But for all of the destruction we've brought to this world, to ourselves, we've gone on to supply it with just as much creativity and compassion. It's hard to put things in perspective because by our very nature we tend to focus on the negatives, death, despair. It's what brings us occasionally back to reality, but not necessarily actuality. We as humans go on to construct our own identity, being consciously independent from each other, but socially intertwined. The bad impacts us personally more than the good, but the good impacts us as a whole more than the bad. So, are humans horrible? Well, if we let the majority speak for themselves, I think you'll find out the answer for yourself. One thing that many people look at when it comes to our identity are the crazy people, the psychologically distraught leaders that led unfathomable acts of genocide. Individuals like King Leopold II, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, and Mao Zedong, leading to the deaths of 2 to 15 million, 17 million, 23 million, and 50 million people respectively. It's easy to say, look at what we've done to ourselves. Easy to install these horrific events into the image of ourselves, our species. And we tend to let them block out the good people, people who have impacted this world so greatly that their intended contributions tend to be overlooked. People like Lynn Enslow along with Abel Woolman, Edward Jenner and Norman Borlaug, and Carl Landsteiner along with Richard Lewison. They are responsible for saving 177 million, 530 million, up to a billion and over a billion people. Billions of lives saved by the scientific discoveries of people who wanted to help humanity. There are over 31 individuals who have saved more lives than the Great Leap Forward destroyed. In terms of the world's worst serial killer, Louis Garavito, he killed 130 individuals, with estimates going all the way up to 400 people. But when compared to the person who has arguably saved the most lives ever through his own personal intervention, James Harrison, he's gone on to save 2 million people through donating his blood, which has a special enzyme that can fight off Rhesus disease. A man who's gone on to donate blood over 1,000 times, it's not hard to see who has impacted the people around them the most. There are so many good people in this world, people who put their own lives in danger for the sake of others, people who are not typically covered in the media all that much because bad news pays the bills. Most times, people who save lives tend to be forgotten pretty shortly, but people who kill someone, they're in the spotlight typically for quite a while. Death alerts us, and that's for most people a biological response, because biologically, we want to live. But many of us still take interest in death when lives are being saved. For an example, it tends to be how many people have died from Ebola, not how many people have been cured. It's how effective have terrorists been, and not how effective have relief efforts been. To take a deeper look, ISIS itself is estimated to have about 30,000 members. And coincidentally enough, Doctors Without Borders also has about 30,000 members. ISIS itself has been responsible for about 15,000 deaths. Doctors Without Borders has had over 9 million occupant consultations and has admitted about 500,000 patients. Going on to vaccinate hundreds of thousands of people. Just recently they vaccinated almost 200,000 people in Mali alone, saving arguably over hundreds of thousands of lives. And this doesn't even scratch the surface in terms of organizations out there for good. Organizations like Red Cross, Action Against Hunger and Direct Relief, and so many more. People donating their time and money to help people in need all around the world to make it a little bit better of a place for all of us. It goes without saying that we as humans have come so far in the past 100 years, let alone the past 1,000. Women's rights, anti-slavery, equal rights for minorities and homosexuals, animal rights, and even fighting back pollution along with so many more things. And the fight continues for these all across the world, and it's important to know that there is a fight. A fight for liberty, justice, and equality. Cell phones and the internet have brought us closer than ever, and the very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in humanity, the universal fellowship and the unity of us all. Right now my voice is reaching people all across the world, people I may have never even met, but I care about them. You. To be human is to no longer just survive, but to contribute to society. One day I believe this world will be free enough where people can live their lives freely. And that's because I see so much good in the world. Will that day happen in my lifetime? I hope so. But until then, I will be doing my part to push for that world. And I hope you do too. All of us have been born in the biggest transition in human history, ranging from human rights to space travel to environmental protection to providing a decent education for everyone. Sure, it would have been nice to have been born after all of these problems have been solved, but we've been born in an era where we have the privilege to be remembered throughout history as the people who have tried to either further or complete these ambitious goals. And for many people, it's easy to give up hope or let the people around you do the work. But in a world where there are so many people with so little, even the smallest contributions can change a life. I have dedicated my life to learning and teaching because I, along with so many other people, realize that education is the key to humanity's success. A world where reason, compassion, and scientific understandings lead the way. It's important for us to stay rational and never allow the actions of sick individuals to force us to take a step back. Some of us live with fear in our minds and anger in our hearts, but it's important to remember that fear can allow us to be easily manipulated and anger can trick us to be wrongfully motivated. The only real weapon against any of the success I've mentioned in this video is lack of education. Because people who are bad, radicals, can only ever be effective when they make you a radical, no matter what end of the spectrum. So if you had to dedicate any bit of your time to anything, it should be making sure education is something accessible to everyone. So, sipping off my soapbox, are humans horrible? Well, judging by the majority of humans and our progress, I would personally say no. But that doesn't mean we are all at the level of being good yet. So that would be my question for you guys. Are humans horrible? And with all that said and done, my name's Dale, this is Think Fact, and remember, never stop learning, or thinking, in this case. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe for more. For the videos over the facts and thoughts that almost everybody missed.